Today we're going to look into blood clotting. This process is also considered as coagulation. So why blood clotting is required? There are two reasons to clot when there is a damage. Number one, it prevents excessive bleeding of the blood. Otherwise, too much blood loss from the body is not really a good sign. Second one, when it form a clot, it seals this damaged area. When it is sealed the damaged area, pathogen cannot enter into the body. So there are two reasons. One is prevent excessive blood loss. Second one, prevent entry of the pathogen to the body. Today we're going to look the blood clotting process. So in blood clotting process, if I take this example, this is the skin and the middle part represents the damage or cut. These are the underlying tissues, connective tissues of the skin. And we can also find the blood vessels, capillaries and small veins, venules we can find in the blood, in underlying the tissues. So this blood vessel is also damaged. So when the blood vessel damage and the tissue damage, it releases chemicals. So I just write here tissue damage, release chemicals. And the most important type of cells in the blood clotting is platelets. When it comes to the damaged blood vessels, the exposed damaged tissues of the blood vessels can activate the platelet. So if we enlarge this area, I just show a small square here, and these are the damaged tissues including collagens. This represents the platelets. So platelets hit these damaged tissues including collagen, platelets get activated. So here platelet activated. So I just write here number 1, this is number 2, platelet activated. Right, now the third one, tissue damage and also activated platelet, both release chemicals. Example, serotonin and thromboplastin. Right. Thromboplastin is a chemical which is mostly released from the activated platelet and also serotonin. So we can consider these two chemicals are the most important chemicals in blood clotting, serotonin and thromboplastin. So we can conclude here, when there is a tissue damage, platelet get activated, activated platelet release serotonin and thromboplastin. What is the function of serotonin and thromboplastin? First we look function of serotonin. Serotonin can constrict the blood vessels. If the diameter is like this, because of the action of serotonin, it becomes like this. So then it gets less blood, then less bleeding. Then we look The important chemicals, thromboplastin. Okay, what is thromboplastin? Thromboplastin is an enzyme. And which reaction it catalyzes? It catalyzes reaction prothrombin. This substrate prothrombin, it's in an inactive form in the blood. So thromboplastin is the enzyme. It converts prothrombin into thrombin. Thrombin is the active form. And this reaction need calcium as cofactor. And also important to understand, the prothrombin synthesis required vitamin K. So vitamin K is not directly involved in the cascade, the clotting process, but vitamin K is important to synthesize prothrombin. Next, what is the role of thrombin? So the process start, platelet activate, platelet release thromboplastin, thromboplastin catalyze the reaction, prothrombin to thrombin. Next, thrombin act as enzyme. What is substrate? Fibrinogen. So fibrinogen is soluble. This convert into fibrin by the action of thrombin. Fibrin is insoluble. So when it is insoluble, we can see them in the blood. So try to make this kind of a network, and this network we can see building up in the plasma. That is called a fibrin mesh. So fibrin mesh form in the damaged area, and this mesh next help to trap the cells. So white blood cells, red blood cells, platelets. And platelets appears to be the strongest candidate in this case because platelet attached to a fibrin strongly and it try to consolidate this mesh. So platelet at last also play a role attached to fibrin and contract and make this mesh very stronger. You can see how it looks like. The white color one is the fibrin mesh. And the trapped cells you can see white blood cell, red blood cell and platelet in the mesh. So this make a strong plug and prevent leaking of blood and also entry of the pathogen. So this lesson helped you to answer question like this. What is the role of thrombin in blood clotting process? In this lesson we have seen prothrombin exists in blood as inactive form and it converts to active enzyme thrombin. Thrombin is enzyme and thrombin convert fibrinogen into fibrin. So it catalyzes the conversion of fibrinogen to fibrin. And we have seen directly the iron required in the process. Thromboplastin need calcium. Thromboplastin is important to convert prothrombin into thrombin and calcium as a cofactor. This iron is required for the activation of thromboplastin. Thromboplastin convert prothrombin to thrombin. Blood Clots form only when required because the clotting factors used are pre-synthesized. All the clotting factors present in the blood, but they are in the inactive form. Okay, this lesson help you to understand blood clotting process. So we will see the next lesson after this.